Okay, we have very limited time, so I will not take any more of the logistical period that we have. But I might have some interesting things for you. So thank you so much, Shiv, and the entire team of FWA and EPN for getting me this honor of speaking with such leaders of the academia as well as the corporates. I think we have all discussed a lot of things about the challenges that are there in the education system, what we can do to improve it. So I'm going to focus very much on the niche that I come from. I run something called Future and AI, and I usually speak with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of students, a lot of leadership who are interested in making strategic changes with AI. And today I want to focus on, a couple of ideas and frameworks that might be very useful to look at it from a different lens than necessarily always from the immediate roles that we look at things. So here's a quick, background. I have a little bit of background in AI where I have done my BTech thesis in AI, as well as I've built an AI startup back in 2017. And that has enabled me to get some interesting perspective on the side of business and technology and, everything that's shaping our future. So, when ChatGPT came out in December 2022, I realized that the world has changed forever, right? And we had hit an inflection point. We were going on a nice curve of technology increasing incrementally. And then comes ChatGPT, everyone's talking about it. Not everyone's necessarily happy about it, but I think we can all acknowledge that something like this is extremely powerful. And it is imperative on us as educators, as people who are responsible for the careers and growth of a lot of young folks who are entering this world into the employment world for the first time. So when I realized that this is what is happening, I said I need to drop everything and figure out ways to help people embrace it and to leverage it, right? So that's where I started Future and AI, and I've so far spoken to tens of thousands of people. We've got 250,000 people across our social media. Video content works very well. So apart from that, a lot of sessions for training and consulting. And I'm sharing a lot of insights from that, distill it in a few slides here. So these are the three big questions that I want to address today, right? These are the three big questions that each one of us should ask. One being, how will AI change the world? Let's get a sense of it. How will it transform education? And if it's going to transform the world and if education needs to keep pace with it, what is it that we can do? What are the exact things we can do to prepare for it, right? So let me quickly clear out the idea of AI first. I think we all have a certain understanding of AI. And I want to make it very clear that I want to make it a practical definition, not a technical definition. I'm sure we can all find it out in academic papers out there. But I want to make it very clear for people who are not necessarily from tech background that it's not a machine, it's not an algorithm, it's not a software. I think what's important is that we acknowledge that this is the only technology humans have created which can do things at par with us at times. So for the first time, there are machines that can learn like humans, that can make decisions like humans and perform tasks like humans. This is fundamentally at the core of what AI is. Intelligence coming from humans has shaped the world so far. So the question that comes out naturally is, okay, now we have a new kind of intelligence. In some ways, it's similar to what humans possess. In other ways, it's very different. So what are those differences? How do we leverage those? How do we team up with AI? These are the questions that I've been asking obsessively. That means keeping up with the latest, biggest tools that are happening, to the new research papers that are coming in, how big companies are adopting it, what are the challenges, whether it be from the perspective of security, something as basic as data security for an organization, to what it means in the classroom, which I'm sure a lot of academics, have a lot of professors here are worried by, and as well as a lot of social, ethical concerns that come out of it. But I'm going to focus on a very narrow niche today. I think I want to simplify the idea of AI as much as I can so that we don't make it a jargon that is thrown around everywhere like a buzzword, which someone like me is very offended very easily by. Every startup that pitches to a VC has AI in their product, and no VC is happy about it, right? So I want to make sure that we don't use it like a buzzword for sure. To me, it's simple as this. This is what the new AI can do. We've had AI for 15, 20 years. AI has beaten us at chess, at Go, and whatnot. And for the first time, it can talk like us. And that's a big deal. Now suddenly we can imagine and paint our ideas of what machines can be, and all those sci-fi dreams are not any more distant for the first time, just because machines can talk. But then machines started drawing. They started creating masterpieces in artwork if we didn't know they were created by machines. And finally, the hardest bit is actually to walk like humans, is what I mean, right? If we've not heard of it, physical intelligence is what's coming next, where we'll have embodied intelligence within robots. They'll have, and I mean, there are multiple good reasons, design reasons, why robots should look like humans, actually. It's funny because we imagine robots as big things and machines with arms and whatnot, but the fact is the robot of the future will look much like humans. It's not a toy that we're doing. It will also be, it's a most stable form that will move around in the world. The world is designed for humans, so robots have to be designed for a world designed for humans. Now, the implications of something like this, I think a lot of people jump right into how does it replace humans? And it causes panic. It causes scare. We start thinking immediately, job loss, chaos, whatnot, right? These are the imaginations that come to us because we are creative people. But I think we need to split out all the capabilities of AI to say, what are the areas, what are the tasks that AI can augment us? What are the areas it automates and gets us free from it? And what are the areas, completely replaces, not just partially automate, but completely replace? I think there are three broad areas where the augment and the automate bits is something that we are going to see more and more. Now, the impact of this is analyzed by a lot of these consultants like BCG and Bain and McKinsey, who say this is the impact of it on different job roles. And you will see that the job roles which have a more or less, predefined set of orders and require lesser human dexterity, not human intelligence, right? Those are the ones that are going to go away first. When I say go away, a lot of those parts of those jobs will go away. I don't think most jobs are going to go away. That's a myth. Those jobs will look very different. Our roles will look very different. And this is one way to capture it. I'm sure by now we've been exposed to all these, beautiful possibilities in the future of how AI will help us get rid of all diseases, poverty, and climate change. These are big problems to be solved. And I think some of my favorites are the drug discovery use cases that are there in healthcare. I think filmmaking and creative world has huge things to gain. You can't produce a movie for less than a few 10 crores today if you were really serious about it. And how many people have that kind of money? So for the first time, machines, or rather AI in this case, will help you create a movie completely from your laptop eventually in 5 to 10 years, which means a lot of creative people will have the opportunity to bring their stories out in the world without having gatekeepers. This is the fourth industrial revolution that we're facing. And just to sum up our journey from where we came in, this is where we started. We hunted. We got some tools. We became better. We did more things. We did better things. We solved bigger problems. We got factories. We got automation. Then we are presently in the information age, where it's very easy to communicate with anyone across the globe without thinking about it for more than a second. Now, simply the part that we can exchange information without barriers has created the world we live in. Right now, this world is not embodied by intelligence everywhere. So the next, we have to start imagining when previous technologies enabled us this much. If we got these many capabilities to arrive here, what are the new capabilities intelligence like this is going to bring us? What will we do together with this new kind of a tool that we have? How do we team up with it? And that's the question I like to ask. How does it not replace us or not replace us, right? I think the question is, how do we work together with it? As long as we are asking these questions, I'm sure we can embrace it with lesser fear and appreciate the change that's coming. We've seen that over years, we thought automation will make life easier and we'll all be free for leisure. That's never happened, and I don't see that happening in the future. There are, of course, conflicting ideas that the leaders and thinkers of the world present. But in my worldview, I don't see that whenever productivity goes up, when our capabilities go up, what we actually spend our time doing is to solve bigger problems. We don't sit back and relax. We're going to be busier than ever, actually. Our mobiles are supposed to make lives easier. We're busier. So that trend is pretty obvious. So there is no reason why having intelligence will free us up and, or we'll all be sipping margaritas. So this is the question I like to ask. Until we have solved all our problems, how can there be no work, right? And if there are more problems to solve, the idea, the notion, the assumption that we might have that it's a zero-sum game, if robots can do things, then what do humans do? These are irrelevant questions, actually. Even if some places do see that, I think we have enough evidence from the history to see that we respond to technology and adapt it in ways which are beyond our initial capability to imagine. So with this, I think I would like to bring in a very important nuance, which is one of my favorite ideas. This is the nuance that I think most people skip when they're talking within themselves of what AI can do. I think we have to fundamentally understand that AI may have some intelligence traits like us, but it's different than us. Humans are still going to be good at reasoning better than AI for a significant foreseeable period of time. And I'm saying this from a technically sound perspective. If you were to hear people like Jan LeCun, they say that there are a few scientific breakthroughs we are yet to arrive at, and simply throwing more data in compute will not make them smarter than us in terms of reasoning. However, any problem that requires pattern recognition at scale, that is not what humans excel at. That is not what we are organically designed for. And those are the problems where we get augmented most. So, which is where a lot of people are fighting back and saying, you know what, it's not as impressive as we originally thought. There is a voice that's coming up. And that's because ChatGPT has disappointed us. It cooks up great stories. They're fairly smart stories. But are they as smart stories as we need for our work to happen, really, for scientific breakthroughs, for enterprise to send the right data across from one place to another? That's not happening. It's going to take us a decade at least for this to show up with extreme credibility. Of course, these timelines can be predicted good or bad by people, but I think this is what the lens that I like to take, and I would recommend all of us and our students and employees from our organizations to look at it this way. What are those problems which we could not solve earlier because we did not have the capital, we did not have the resources, and we did not have the knowledge to solve it? In what ways can AI help us with? These are the questions. So far, I'm throwing questions at you. And I'm kind of rushing a bit. We have little time. But I think these are the questions. As long as we start asking the right questions, answers will come easy. Now I want to focus on precisely what are the areas in education that are going to be affected, right? If we can acknowledge that the world is moving more and more towards bigger problems and complex problems like climate change, even the robotics that we do is going to become more complex and interdisciplinary as we go ahead. And that will mean that we need all hands on deck. We need all kinds of humans, all kinds of human experts, all kinds of human generalists, all kinds of machines of different kinds to work together to solve these challenging problems. And when that is needed, when such a problem is thrown at us, we need a new kind of a team. And we'll see this new kind of a professional. And this is what I recommend a lot of students and young professionals who are coming up, so asking, what do I do in this world now? And I say, see, what does it mean for you? Can you be a specialist generalist, right? That's a new word. We've all, so far assumed that the world is divided into specialists and generalists. This is the new world where AI is suddenly there to bring expertise at scale to us. If expertise at scale is available, maybe not the best expertise, but it's still a lot of access to precise one-on-one expertise, as if you were paying $5,000 an hour to the world's best scientists and the world's best consultants and entrepreneurs. So if you have that at access, then you can suddenly become a specialist generalist and you're a superhuman. And these are the two skills, I think, which will remain unchanged. Their importance will grow. A lot of the manual skills, simpler skills, they will become slightly less important over time, while our ability to empathize and critically think, they are going to go up exponentially. Our ability to collaborate, our ability to lead. And this is what the second framework which I recommend whenever we are thinking how to perceive AI. These are the segments that we look at. I think all the areas which are most abstract. Right now, AI is not great at abstraction. It's great at pattern recognition and recreation. So the more complex and abstract the problem is, and the more empathy you need to solve for it. It's not an analytical problem. It's not a problem to be solved in sheets. So that is where you need humans more. Something which requires high empathy but low problem solving, something like nursing, that's going to stay. We need humans to be nursing us, to be hospitable, and to be warm to us. So this is what I see, and I'm going to leave you with an idea of a possibility of a classroom so that we can concretely imagine what it could look like. I think the future is now evidently there where we will have companions for everything. And it's a fair model to think of as so far. These companions will be there for each one of us, for each student, and for each teacher as well, right? So if we're going to have companions, what does the classroom now look like? And I'm going to share an idea which I think could be like a breakthrough in a lot of challenges that the larger Indian education system faces, especially for the primary education, secondary education, where we don't have enough resources at mass, and these are in far off areas. I think I'm going to leave with that idea. What I imagine is the number one problem, which I understand from all my friends who are in education, who run NGOs, for teacher training. And I was listening to the conversation before this. I think it's important that our teachers, our educators, they have a system for growth. And I think that is a much bigger area for us to solve at scale if we could offer. Imagine I'm walking into a classroom, I'm a teacher, I keep my phone on the desk. It has passive audio recording, that's it. We can do that today. I keep it on the desk, I go about my class as usual, and by the end of that class, I get a report generated. That report includes things like what topics were covered today. We can easily get that. We can simply transcribe the entire thing, summarize it with ChatGPT, of course, but then we can take it one level further. What topic was covered? What kinds of questions were asked by the children? Were they engaged? Was there a lot of noise? Was the teacher able to discipline them? Was there any sort of unexpected behavior that we saw? Did children ask enough questions and were they answered well, right? All of this feedback can be compiled in a very kind way and be provided to the teacher at the end of it to reflect on every single classroom as if they had a senior faculty member sitting right across them and was making notes that, hey, for the next class, maybe you want to change these things. And I think this simple idea, it's not something ridiculous to imagine as a possibility. You can do this right away. What was the tonality? We can gauge that from our models today. And over a period of time, if you repeat this, we will have super teachers. We will have super educators, and that is the key to creating the future generations empowered with, so much more knowledge and ability to solve problems. And if you were to aggregate that at the level of the school, at the level of even the education department of the country, you could see at a glance how every single classroom is behaving and if the performance is up to the mark. And then we get outcomes. I think this is one breakthrough idea. I've been trying to take it as far as I can. And I hope more and more people, adopt for it. I'm working on a solution like this with a friend, a primitive version of it. And I'll be happy to share that with a lot of you here, whoever is interested. So I'll leave you with the thought, we have to accept change is coming. And we have to obsess a little bit about if we are ready for it. So yeah, that's about it. I'm doing my bit as an educator. I do a lot of these sessions and a lot of online, offline things. And I hope more of us spread these ideas ahead. But I'll be happy to have discussions, take questions after this session. Thank you so much. You can find me here, and I would love to take it from here. Thank you.